Skye Squad, we are back in the building and we gotta talk Love and Marriage Huntsville. Y'all, this episode was insane, okay? It was insane. And we're gonna dive into it. It's the season finale of this season. I mean, what a season, okay? Can we just say what a season? I definitely had my moments where I was like, you know what? I cannot review this show. Things got so crazy this season with the online, offline, everything that happened this past year with Love and Marriage Huntsville. But you know what? I think there's something to say for a show that people are so passionate about, right? So there's clearly something that they are doing right because people are very passionate and invested about it. And I honestly, looking at it coming on the other side of the show at this point, as I look back at it, that's really what you want from a show, is you want people to feel invested. These storylines are in some way, shape, or form relatable. So we're gonna dive into it. Let's go. I'm in the car again, and we're gonna just break it on down, But before we do that, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell button, and also click like if you like either Love and Marriage Huntsville, or if you just like reality TV related content in general, or if you just want to support the channel, just click like. All right, and share your comments in the description. Well, not in the description, but check out the links in the description and share your comments in the comment section down below. All right, so let's get into it. All right, so we begin this episode where we left off with last episode with Latricia and Mel arguing, right? Now, I gave you my thoughts on that in the last recap, so I'm not going to get too deep into that. But Mel ends up leaving early. For me personally, I wouldn't have left. I wouldn't have left early because, listen, for me, Mel, you started this show. Like, I'm talking about the core people involved. Like, so ain't no way I would be arguing with this, somebody new and I leave. No, girl, I'm going to make you uncomfortable, okay? But having said that, I think Mel is just at a point where I think that she just has zero trust for her mental safety within this group. I think that's where it is. And I think that's fair, but I also think that personally, I want to see her stick around in certain situations. I understand if she doesn't want to stay in a situation where Martell is, that I totally get, because their issues are so much deeper. But the issue with her and Trish, it really wasn't that deep. But I know she did say she had somewhere to be, so she wasn't going to be there the entire time anyway. So she had to go. All right. So Mel leaves. I think she said she had something with the kids. So rightly so, she left. So the next thing that we see is the people come out for the body painting. Nell arrives, and Nell, while Sunny and Destiny and all of them are painting, Nell makes a joke about Sunny and Destiny sharing a snake or something to that degree. Now, for me, Nell, you already know that Destiny is super sensitive about the fact that Sunny is invited. It was a whole big thing in the last episode. So you making that joke definitely was you being messy. But what is the show without a bit of mess? So, it's your event. Be messy if you want to, I guess. But what happens next is, Sunny starts, basically taking a stance like, I don't share anything. So Letitia walks over to Sunny and is like, she's kind of giving her a friendly greeting, and Destiny passes by, and Sunny makes a remark about how Destiny doesn't really want Sunny to be friends with any of Destiny's friends. I was already shocked that Letitia was even greeting her, because Letitia has made her stance on Sunny pretty clear. But I guess she probably figured, well, I got to film with this chick, so at the end of the day, she's here, so we might as well make the best of it. How do we move forward in this situation? And so Sunny's like, well, Destiny needs to stop talking about me. Sunny says that Destiny goes live on Mondays, and she is always talking about her. That's what she said. Now, I do know that Destiny does I think it's like a Mental Health Mondays podcast. So, I've been a guest on there, and so I do know that I did ask questions about the situation for my own clarification. I just wanted to know. I mean, so if I contributed to that in any way, I am very sorry. I'm sorry to you, Sunny. I just wanted to know I wanted to know the ins and the outs, right? For the purposes of the show. So anyway, I'm sorry to you. But I would have to assume it was more than just that, because there's also some simmering tension and Destiny overhears this, and Destiny's like clapping her hands and stomping her feet to the big bad beat, and she's like, I'm gonna talk about what I want to talk about. So Sunny get to clapping her hands and stomping her feet to the big bad beat, and okay, I'm gonna talk about what I want to talk about. And Destiny claps her hands and stomps her feet to the big bad beat and says, okay, we'll talk about it. And so they go back and forth. And then Destiny talks about how Sunny made a post on Instagram about Maury Povich or something like that. And it was Destiny read into the post as it being directed at her about who's the daddy or something like that. Now, I have not seen this post, so I don't know. They didn't show it on the screen, so I don't know. What I do know is that Sunny claims that's not what it was about. I ain't see the post. Well, she says something thereabouts. And Destiny lets her know, well, you making jabs about me and my child, I pray that you're able to have a child at some point so that you will understand why I'm not dog walking you right now. Okay? So now we're talking dog walking, okay, at the down to the bachelorette. And Sunny sits there and says, well, dog walk me then. And so Destiny's like, you know what? Let me go outside and catch my breath before I do what I said I was going to do. Okay? Do I believe that Destiny would have dog walked her? I believe they might have been scrapping. Okay? I believe that if it won't for the grace of we all need to get our paychecks. I believe Destiny might have grabbed her by the ponytail, okay? And so Destiny goes outside to catch her breath or whatever. That's what you do. You take a step back. That's probably that therapy working. So, son, you might want to be thanking God for those Mental Health Mondays, because that mental wellness had got her up out of there, so y'all wouldn't be rolling around in the paint. Okay? So anyway, Tisha goes outside to check on Destiny, and it's like, well, what's going on? And Destiny lets her know, I was about the dog walker. You understand what I'm saying? You understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? I was going to dog walk that girl down. Okay, so I stepped away. I don't know why y'all keep inviting her around the places anyway. This is what happens every time. And so Tisha's like, yeah, you right. In her confessional, she's like, well, we just need to stop inviting Sunny around to the places because we all can see how it's impacting Destiny. And to be fair, Destiny has been around this group longer. And Destiny pretty much says, you eating off of me, right? So you don't have anything to do in this group because you are attached to me. Meanwhile, I'm trying to get attached to Lance, okay? Sir Lancelot. But I'm like, Destiny, we gonna have to talk about some things, okay, girlfriend? Because in this newness of your situation with Lance, I ain't gonna say you can't. Here's the thing. Everybody got two eyes. And when we see attractive people, we're gonna look. That's just human nature. And so there's nothing wrong with looking, because you got two eyes. And anybody that's confident in a relationship is really probably not gonna mind that. Now, we're gonna go back to something that happened at the Madani event, wherein one of the guys that was there, Destiny, said something like, as they were walking away, Destiny said, you stick around, or something like that. And Miss Nell is there, and Lance that's Lance's mom. So you can't flirt with the people, even if it sounds playful, in front of your dates, in front of your friend's mama. Because if you think that she's not gonna go back and say nothing, you crazy. Okay, so you got to learn to be more subtle with your look, okay? Because this is gonna come up later. Okay, so this is just I ain't no relationship expert or nothing like that, but I think it's super sensitive for people when they are first starting to date and get to know each other. And I think that's probably why he was reactive later. But it was interesting because he chose to be reactive on camera. Okay, catch that. So I might be an advocate for making Lance a new cast member next season. Okay, Sir Lancelot, I mean, was like, you're not gonna play with me. You play with me, I'm gonna play back. And we're gonna talk about that in a minute. Anyway, so that's over, and then it's time to prepare for the wedding. So as Miss Nell is getting ready, for her big day, she's talking with her. Was it her daughter or her niece? I cannot recall who it was, and I apologize for it, but I'm driving. So work with me. So anyway, they're recapping the bachelorette party, and I think it was the niece that mentioned, Destiny and Sunny arguing, like, if you with Lance, why are you even arguing with Sunny about somebody that you don't date no more? And so Miss Nell is like, well, I really don't think it was about Moses as much as it was about just Sunny being in their space in general, because the complicated part of this situation is really that Sunny is somebody that Destiny considered a friend, in addition to her being her producer. So we talked about the power dynamic between a producer and a cast member, in that a producer has to really get to know every detail of the cast member's life, or as much as possible, so that they can get the best story out of them. And they can, they have so much to coordinate together. So it does become a thing, and I think back to my own experiences on Stripped, on Bravo. You develop a relationship and a bond with your producer that is just, even to this day, if I can still chat with my producers, two of my producers, because I was just that close to them. You can't help but get that close to them. I even became very close with one of the editors of the show, because what they did at the end of the day, there was supposed to be another person featured in my episode, but what they did was, for whatever reason, the other person did not get shown in the episode. I don't know why. And so I had to go back in and do a lot of extra, like, voiceovers and things like that, and provide a lot more context with the editor. So I work with that person very closely. And I'm just giving you this information so you understand the dynamic between a production team and a person, a cast member that they're working with. So you really understand the depths of what Destiny may be feeling about this woman, about Sunny. Now, there's also the fact that I believe that as a result of that relationship, and then Sunny no longer working on the show, that relationship, it seems from Destiny's perspective, or at least from an observer's perspective, that relationship for at least Destiny deepened such that she felt comfortable bringing Moses around. So I think that Sunny is right. There is a level of hurt that Destiny is feeling about this situation. So, Miss Nell does describe that accurately, I think. So the ceremony for their vow renewal is beginning, and we see Kimmy and Maurice. They get there. Martell arrives, and let me say this. If Martell is there next season, which I'm assuming they're filming now, and I would have to assume that he's there. He should focus more on his suits. This suit that he is wearing to this wedding is bananas, in my opinion. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's just the style. It's a style I have not seen a lot of, and I think, well, we'll talk about things as they progress, but he would do well to focus more on his endeavors in the men's fashion space, because that is what works for him, and that would be a better story, because right now he seems to only thrive on the show as a character in conflict. And if he wants to change that, he's going to need to make his priorities a bit different. I don't want to see next season anything to do with Mel and Martell at all, because it just bogs down the show. It's repetitive at this point, and there's no point, because she's not going backwards. She's just not. So, for him, as he has these conversations with Maurice, reminiscing about, or even just thinking about what his life could have been like as he watches the vow renewal, it's like, it's over. It's done. So, let's focus on whatever is really going on in your life now. Now, I don't know if they would ever venture to show his relationship and who he's with now. But, I know that a lot of you guys have said you don't want to see that. So he's going to need to focus on something that actually makes sense. And in my humble opinion, that is the thing that makes the most sense, is his businesses. There is some conversation about, what happened between Mel and Latricia. He's heavily invested in whatever happened with that. Mel arrives. Mel looks great. I want to say this because y'all know I'm a lover of fashion. You may not be able to tell in this moment, but I do, right? This is my on the road again outfit. Somebody said something the other day. It was, I don't know if it was like a read or what. Somebody said, let me find out you got a 9 to 5 because you always on the road. And I would say, let me say this. Most of you guys know why I'm on the road so much these days. So I don't really have to explain it that much. But for those of you guys that don't, there's a reason. And for me, having a 9 to 5 is, listen, if I had one, I definitely would let y'all know, because I like stable income, okay? And stable income is good income. All right, so if I ever do decide to get a 9 to 5, best believe I don't mind letting y'all know, okay? Because I like money, okay? in whatever form or sources it comes from. I would just like to, because I thought about it plenty of times. Best believe, how can I double this money? Okay. There have been times, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, when I had a 9-to-5 and I had a whole nother job too. Doing my other job at my 9-to-5. So, and let me tell y'all the secret. The way you do it is you keep a mirror at your desk, okay? Keep a mirror in your cubicle so you can see who's coming up behind you, so you'll know to put whatever else you're working on away, okay? Anyway, that's just a little sidebar, little tip from me to you, all right? So for me, when I see Latricia in this strikingly platinum blonde wig, I'm thinking it looks Party City. And I don't want that for you, Latricia. I don't want that for you. And I think if you want to do the blonde, there is a way to do it. And I know I'm probably the last person you want to take any advice from. But I promise you this. Talk to a stylist that can find the shade for you. Because otherwise, when I see you in that confessional and I'm looking, the wig is giving Kim Zolciak. Not in a good way. It's giving 2008 Kim Zolciak. Okay? So, I'm going to need you to let that go. Personally. Destiny, I love you. But I think a ginger would be real good for you. A good old ginger would be good. A little reddish brown. A little brown something or other. I think Kimmy does an excellent job of mixing it up with the color because she kind of keeps the same base. But anyway, y'all ain't come to hear my ramblings on that. But I know if I noticed it, some of y'all noticed it too. So, now we said it. All right. There does seem to be a disconnect between Mel and the cast, and I think it was really, you could see the physical manifestation of it in the seating at the wedding, at the vow renewal itself. Mel was very much like, keep me away from these mofos, okay? Because I ain't trying to be anywhere near where my ex is. So y'all, I ain't gonna be able to do it. And so next season, I don't even want to see them at the same event together, because at the end of the day, when they go inside after the pastor faints from heat exhaustion or something like that, poor thing, we send blessings and grace to him. I feel like Martell making his way over to the group table, it just was given, okay, y'all. So I mean, okay. I don't know what y'all arrangement is outside of filming, but that she's not gonna be around you. So at this point, it's kind of just redundant. It's giving redundant. She's gonna leave. So it's like, why would you even think she would stay there? So it's just, I don't know. They have a conversation about it outside with Martell and Marceau and Maurice. And it's so interesting to me because the guys are still able to film together even after they have ripped each other to shreds. But it is what it is, because Marceau has already told us there's no other reason why he would be in a scene with Martell other than to film, because the mortgages are due. Okay, and I need for the checks to cash. So it is what it is. And I think that it's representative of what Mel feels within this group. And I do think that next season, it would be nice to see. I don't know how we fix that. I don't know if there's some level of group project or group therapy or group something that could be done to really re-engage everybody with her, with the exception of Martell. I think we just have to understand that they're just never going to be in the same space again together, or at least for quite some time. With time usually heals all things, and it just ain't been enough time. And I don't think that trying to force the issue is going to be fun for us to watch anymore. So something's got to change there, and I don't know what that something is, but it's got to change because I think we're all over it. And it is just the nature of where they are in their journey of their co-parenting. They're just not. She just don't want to be around him. That's it. Okay, respect it. Let's go. Let's move on. Okay, so there's a moment where Lance, I told you we was gonna circle back. You know, he comes over and he talks and he makes a little comment about Destiny finding a lot of men handsome. And then he kind of walks off, and you know, she looks over at Kimmy like, you being messy. Because Kimmy called it out when Destiny had said that comment to the guy at her Madonna event. And Kimmy's like, don't look at me, I didn't tell him that, but you need to recognize that you said something out loud right when his mama was right there, and she said something about it, and you can't think that she wasn't going to go back and tell him. And so if you are trying to get to know this man, it probably is not going to sit well with him if his mama's running back to tell him that you are making comments to other guys that seem flirtatious. It's just like that's human nature. So again, Destiny, I feel like if you want to look, yeah, you got eyes. I mean, sneak a peek, girl, but don't ogle and definitely don't comment while his mama there. Like, no, girl, no. So, you know, I'm just saying, like, you gonna have to keep it cute. But again, this is, again, Lance was like, I mean, I think he was definitely being petty, but I definitely think he made his point. And I definitely think she'll think twice about doing that again. Okay? I want to see where they go from here, because she felt like it was a red flag, but that could have also been a red flag for him. But I do agree, you know, I mean, he had a point where he was like, well, you did this thing in public, so yeah, I clap back publicly. But at the same time, it's like, you know, for me, I do think that when you have an issue in a relationship, two wrongs don't make a right. And at the end of the day, relationships don't thrive on who's right. They thrive on how we come together to fix whatever the issues are. So I do think that they need to figure that out. The last thing that I want to talk about is Ken and Trish. This scene for me was a red flag on both parties. Okay, red flag on the play, call it quits, and I'm gonna tell you why. First of all, I do think that Ken is right about Latricia. I don't know what he's saying when the cameras are not theirs, and I don't know how many times they've had this conversation. What I do know is that Ken made a great point. He said the thing with Martell happened way before he came along. So if she had just been honest with at least him about the situation in advance, then he wouldn't have to question what she's asking, what really happened. Because we have been questioning it, because she's rolled out so many little tidbits over the course of time that we're all unsure of what exactly the timeline was. So if you have been dishonest with him and he's asking you questions, you do owe him you owe him some level of like, hey, okay, patience, in terms of like, okay, I know that this has created a situation where you feel like I haven't been honest and and you can't trust me. How can I make this up? How can we work together to ensure that it never happens again? I'm willing to answer whatever questions you may have. I understand that I was in the wrong in this situation, and let's work through it together. And I want to make you feel secure in where I stand with you. And I want to help you understand why I wasn't quite so truthful about it from the start. And I think that if she were more open to it, because he should feel like that. That's natural for him to want to know these the questions to these things. Not to mention, he's also on a cast, and he's being asked about these things constantly, I'm sure, because everyone is confused. And then I'm sure its production is having to ask him questions. His friends are asking him questions. So you have to be open to, because he's constantly being reminded of it. And that's just the reality of reality TV, because he's going to have to keep talking about it every time you tell a lie. So you're going to have to give him a little grace, because this also being both of y'all's first season, you're going to have to work with him to correct this problem. And it may take a while. Your patience may run thin. But at the end of the day, if he's patient enough to stay with you despite his not understanding of why you took those actions, then I think you need to also give him the grace of and the patience to sit down and carefully explain it to him in a way that he can really understand, because it's taken us 30 episodes and we still don't get it. But here is where I don't have a problem. I do think it is a problem. You know, in Trish's defensiveness, it gets to a point where he gets so frustrated that at this point, there's a switch that turns on. And I don't know if it's Trish that is pushing his buttons, but what I do know is that he then says some things that once you say them on camera, I don't know where you go from here. He basically is like, you know what? I'm done. I pay for all of this stuff in your house. You wouldn't even have a car if it wasn't for me. And he says something about what you gonna do with your kids without me. It was something to that effect. I personally did not like that, because I feel like argue about what we are arguing about, right? Stick to the topic. If you feel like you don't trust her, I think that's one thing. Just simply say, you know what, I don't trust you, and it's frustrating to me. And I know sometimes people don't think clearly when they're arguing, and emotions get wrapped up into it. But what I do not ever agree with is there is a point in an argument where you have to remember that you're still in the relationship, unless you want to be out of it, right? So once you start saying things like that, to me, that's relationship ending things that you're saying to a person on camera. Once you say, I paid for all of this, you wouldn't be basically nothing without me doing everything for you, what you and your kids gonna do now? That right there was the comment that told me that when you get upset, you're going to tear the whole place down. And you made it a big deal that you have been the provider for her kids and for her all season long. Now you are turning that against her. And I know a lot of y'all don't like Trish, and I know a lot of y'all going to say he's a good man, Savannah, and I do think he's a good man. But the problem is, if you are doing these things willingly, then you can't later throw them in her face that you're doing them because you're upset about a relationship issue. Then don't do those things. And then he starts saying, well, I'm going to do what everybody else do. I can go to an island. You can't. Basically, he calling the girl broke. It was almost like he was saying, bye, brokey. Bye, brokey. Bye, brokey. You broke. You broke. I'm the one with the coin. I'm the one with the cash, baby. And you better talk right to me. I don't know. That's what it gave me. I don't like that level of like, well, and even for her, I don't like, if you, it's one thing, I can take a lot of things. if you start cursing at me, if you raise your voice at me, that's a trigger. That's triggering for me. Just having been in a situation like that where somebody did that, you know, it takes me to that place, and it's just like I got to flee. I got to flee the country at this point, because I can't take all that, all that type of carrying on. You could be mad, and you can tell me you're mad. If you need time or space, and you need to just walk away for a second, I'm with you. Okay, cool. I get it. You need some time. You need some space. You need to just cool your head down for a bit and come back to it. But the moment you start, like, and the stuff that he was saying, that's relationship ended. Y'all might as well go ahead and break up. But that's my thoughts. What do y'all think? Y'all let me know. I want to know what you think. Anyway, the weird thing about reality TV is that it is for entertainment, but they do be these people real life. And I know people argue all the time in relationships, but could y'all come back from that? Y'all let me know in the chat. Anyway, this reunion looks good. We'll talk more about that when it's time to talk about the reunion, and we'll dissect the all of that and all that good stuff. So anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. Subscribe to the channel. And with that being said, I will catch y'all in the next video.